Hello lovely butterflies, welcome to this 10th Mixed Media Shorty. In this series I want to focus on very basic techniques, and today I'm going to do just a lot of layering basically. I'm starting by mixing up some chalky finish paint with modeling paste, and I'm applying this over my rectangle stencil on a grey board tag. This will be the base for everything that will be added afterwards on the tag. And as I mixed up way too much product, I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to spread the rest in my art journal, and that will be the base for my next spread that I will be making. This time I'm using my rock formation stencil, and as you can see I'm checking which side has to come up so that I don't have too much product seeping underneath the stencil. So next time I want to work in my art journal, I already have some texture going on. Once everything is dry, I'm using that same shade of chalky finish and I'm painting the complete tag with it. And as this is my base layer directly on the grey board, I want to make sure that I have a thick enough layer for whatever it is I want to do on top of that, so I'm applying a second layer. The product that I have too much on my table, I just scoop it straight back into the bottle. This time I'm going in with a lighter shade of grey. Again, it's a chalky finish from Deco Art, and I'm just painting the whole tag again. I left it to dry, and now I'm going in with a baby wipe, and that's the fun thing about chalky finish. As long as it hasn't set in time, you can still go back in and it will remain water reactive as long as it hasn't completely dried through and through. So this is my second layer in color. I want to take off some more because I know that I want to add many layers on top of it, so I need to have that darker color come through again. I'm prepping another color of colorized modeling paste, so I'm taking a lighter shade of gray than the first one that I used, mixing it up with modeling paste, and again using my rectangle stencil, I'm going to apply it to create a layered rectangle. And as you can see, I'm using some masking tape. Couldn't find the word. I'm using some masking tape to help myself to stay within that one particular rectangle. Again, I left it to dry, and I'm going back in again with another lighter gray in the chalky finish. And then same thing, I'm leaving it to dry or helping it a bit, and then coming back in with a baby wipe. The only thing you have to keep in mind is don't leave it to dry for 2 days, because it will be too dry and you won't be able to get any paint off anymore. So I'm insisting in some parts so that I have that darkest shade that I started with to come through. And again, same thing. Like I said, this is just layering. So I'm prepping another colorized modeling paste, again a lighter gray color, and putting it at the top again. And I wanted to put the rest again in my art journal, even if it's not that much. Now the little hearts that are on that same rectangle stencil fit perfectly in the rectangles. But this time I didn't want to do it directly over the rectangle because, as you can see, I have some texture going on, and it would be very hard to have a neat heart, and I wanted to have a neat heart. So I'm cheating by cutting out a piece of watercolor paper and applying the modeling paste on the watercolor paper. Another shade of chalky finish and another layer of paint. I like the looks of old painted stuff, be it furniture or walls, where you can see the layers and layers and layers of paint through the years. So that's the kind of look that I'm going for. And then again, going back in with a baby wipe and taking some of it away. Using my scissors, I'm scraping the edge of the tag to make it look a bit more grungy, vintage. And then I'm using the first shade of color that I used at the very base of the tag and just applying it with my finger. I'm going around on that distressed edge. If I have too much paint on, I'm just going over it with my baby wipe to take it back off again. I'm mixing up 2 shades of fluid acrylic, and I'm also keeping some of that quinacridone gold on the side to add some splatters to make it look rusty. And with the other 2 mixed colors, I can start layering the paint on my heart. Now, as these paints are quite translucent, I need to add several layers before I have the real intense red that I want to have. And as I still have some of that quinacridone gold on my table, I'm just going to use it to add like a bit of a rusty finish. And I'm using a lot of water to dilute it because I don't want it to take over the color of the tag. This is one of my Rock and Rust stamps, and I'm just using archival ink to stamp it around on the tag. And I'm using my stencil because I want to stamp on that last rectangle with a text stamp, but I only wanted to have it on that last rectangle. And using yet another stamp from my London, New York set, I'm adding some scribblings and a post stamp on the edge. Using antiquing cream, I'm covering up the heart again, drying it with the heat gun, and then using a baby wipe, I'm taking most of that black cream away. This will enhance and accentuate the texture that I have going on the heart. And for now, it does look too dull, but I will rectify that later on. So I chose the number stamp from my Perfect Word stamp, which are mini tiny numbers, but I really like that. And I do want to add a word, but I don't want to stamp it directly on the tag. So I'm stamping it on a piece of paper. And that's what made me also decide to add an edge with a marker around the tag. So I'm just trimming that little word that I want to use. Again, distressing the edges with my scissors. And I'm going to use some distress ink on the edges of that, as well as that same marker to doodle that same edge. I decided to add some marks with the white pen to make it look a little bit lighter. Can you say to enlighten it in English? Is that a correct way to say it? This is cambric, which has been colorized with Quin Gold. And cambric is like a gauze, but the difference is that you can distress it as heavily as you want. It will always keep its shape, and that's why I like it so much. I will link all the products that are available to my webshop underneath the video. That's that same stamp from my Rock and Rust set that I used to add some more crackles, stamped crackles. To glue everything down, I'm using heavy gel because everything is so texturized that just regular glue won't do it unless I have a lot of patience, which I don't have. So this is where I decided to enhance the red again. So I'm mixing these same two colors of red to go over it again and to give it some more, to make it a little bit more vibrant. And now that it's sticking down, it's easier to add that red and go all the way to the edge. This is just decoupage glue that I've put in a precision bottle so that I can apply it exactly where I want to have it without having to use a paintbrush. And I'm using 3D foam to put down the little word. I'm prepping some holes so that I can put on some metallic wire, but as my tag is quite thick, it's a quite thick gray board, I really need to go in with a picky tool. And then I'm just sewing the metal wire in place. Now, as the metal wire is rusted, it left some rust powder on the heart. That's what I was wiping away. I decided to recreate the tag hole at the top, and I still had this washer on my table, which is a leftover from another project, which is basically layered paint. And I decided to add a little piece of string. I wanted to add some more contrast to it. So as you can see, I picked a pink color that is really contrasting with all the rest. I also added some raw sienna splatters to enhance that rust effect in the look. And then also some of those blue splatters that are really contrasting with everything that I have going on. That's it for today. Lots of layering. I hope you liked today's video. If so, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And see you back next time. Ta-da!